Yes, y'all. I know it is early. This Motivational Monday message got to come early today. It got to come early today because Mondays we keep it moving, right? That's right. In this ministry, we keep it moving. So yes, I've got the windows down. There's a nice breeze. It's kind of cloudy today, and so we know that we're gonna get this, and so you're gonna hear the occasional vehicle, maybe aircraft, what have you, or people walking by. You know how it is. While those notifications go out, let me go ahead and do our usual check here. I gotta tell y'all that everything always works out in the favor of chosen one. This is something that baffles the narcissist because they can't figure out how, no matter what it is they throw at us, we bounce back stronger every single time. Every single time we bounce back stronger, and they can't figure it out. And then how things always work in our favor. And we ain't gotta ask for nothing. We ain't got, listen, that's the thing. We ain't gotta ask. We don't really have to ask. Now, we do ask for something. We do let y'all know that, yes, like CHA, we accept grants and donate, slash, the world calls them donation. We do, because that's how, that the ministry funding is accepted. Okay. And it is necessary. It's a part of, well, they call them alms. It's just it's a way of life. Okay. It's what we're doing. We get up here and we are serving, because yours truly is full-time minister, content creator, entrepreneur, instructor, consultant, coach, trauma specialist, author. So chosen ones wear many hats. And that'll be another reason why things always work out in our favor. So let me go ahead and do our usual check here. I know that we are, like I said, this Motivational Monday message coming a little bit early today. Usually we go around 4 p.m., but I know a lot of y'all will catch this on the replay. Yes. We are, like I said, this there we go. All right. And so you're catching us in between walking, working out, and all that good stuff. And so if you see some sweat, it is what it is. All right. I saw a t-shirt. Somebody was wearing it. And I said, oh, that's so cool. It said, respect the sweat. And I said, oh, you better believe it. Because, well, that not just detoxing, but that's a necessary part of healing from excess salt and radio frequency poisoning. So, yeah, let your body sweat. Don't get tricked into thinking that's uncomfortable. I mean, if you're working out, you should be breaking a sweat. I remember thinking that. I got the chat up, so if y'all got questions or insights or what have you, but yes, everything always works out in the favor of chosen ones. It don't matter. I'm going to tell you right now, it does not matter what the devil and his minions, these narcissists out here, throw our way. We're gonna find a way around that resistance, because there's always a way around the devil's resistance. Narcissism causes resistance. We're going to get around it. We are going to get around it. We find solutions. We are problem solvers. That's another reason why chosen ones, everything is always working out in your favor. I know it don't always seem that way. You'd be like, don't seem that way right now, because narcissists trying to play head games. But you can see through that. You start to see through that. Because when God's favor is on his chosen one, the world can see it. The world can see it. You better believe it. Now, that did not mean that, no, y'all, it's not putting us on a pedestal. That's no ism mindset. Nothing like that. That's not an entitlement mindset. Okay? It's just the fact that God's favor is on us, and that's why everything works in our favor. Meaning, everything works out as it's supposed to. That's it. And so when you have that mindset, you got to shift that mindset. You got to change that thinking. Because if you're going around expecting the worst, you're going to find it. It is so easy to find negativity. It takes work to turn that negative into a positive. That's how things work out in our favor. Chosen one, everything is always working out in your favor. Because it don't matter. That's why God says, don't fret. I'm paraphrasing here, but don't fret about those that try to kill the body, the physical. He said, don't fret about that. It's your soul. Remember, it's a spiritual battle for the mind. And the prize is the soul. So you have to keep that in mind. It's spiritual. It's spiritual. It's your thoughts. How you thinking? How you thinking? Because it's the way you thinking that matters. And so, again, I know what up here, it is a little bit early for the Motivational Monday message, but let's just say that the place that we're going to next is not ready yet. Okay? So, we're in between. Okay? Remember, it's business trip season. Ooh, ooh. All right, y'all, it's business trip season. I love the fact that y'all get to go with us on these business trips. It's fantastic. I'm learning something. Okay, so the hotel case studies is over now. We got to the underlying cause. See, that's why we use the salutogenic approach for trauma healing too, because we get to the underlying cause. Okay, we peel back them layers until we go, aha! That's it right there. Peel back them layers until we get that underlying. We look at the bigger picture. We examine every single detail. Okay? And so I was doing a forensic analysis on some hotels. But now, well, and it's not that that got us off track or anything, but we're back on track now. All right, with what we really need to be doing as far as that goes for business trips. But I have very intriguing hotel stories for y'all on the Patreon channel. Oh, and there's more coming. Yeah, that's just the beginning. Crazy stuff. Narcissist, okay? Oh my gosh, monitoring spirit. It only takes about 5 days to know who the monitoring spirit is. Or who they are, if there's more than one. A lot of times there is. We talked about that in yesterday's live stream, and I shared with y'all one. Whew. Yeah, something else. And, yeah, they're going to try to play dumb. But see, the thing is that everything always works out in chosen one's favor because we're problem solvers. We have control of our own minds. And we are self-thinkers. And that God guiding our steps. We're not ignoring the things that God reveals to us. And we change that thinking. And we see opportunities and lessons instead of any negatives. That's right. So it's like whenever the hotel case studies, when we were doing those places are like independently owned type hotel that, okay, I got the experience, but I was starting to notice patterns. So I said, yeah, okay, pattern, tell a story. I got to do something here. I got to find out what's up with this. And why it seems like they got torture rooms or seemingly torture rooms. But yeah, to try and psych you out. Because see, God said, I will not have you ignorant, my brethren. So he revealed a lot to us. 3 different hotels that got turned into case study. And we got to the underlying cause of a radio frequency symptom that kept reoccurring. So for anybody who is interested, if you are part of this ministry, and I mean genuinely, and you are on this journey combating radio frequencies for healthier living, see, everything will work out in our favor for that too. Because I keep bringing y'all the truths about that. The negative impacts that this matrix with radio frequency has on our biological and physical health. Okay? If you have had reoccurring sinus issues, okay, I'll tell you what it is. Salt in the air. Okay, those dark gray clouds you see sometimes. All right, if you're smelling charcoal, but ain't nobody cooking out, right? Nobody's cooking on the charcoal grill. But it's real strong. It's in the air. That's it right there. That's it. That's what's caused, because that targets your sinuses and your respiratory system. That charcoal smell. Because that salt, think about it, charcoal. It's just, the black charcoal that you see, that's a big lump of burnt salt is all it is. Look it up. It's not a secret. Look up what makes up charcoal. Okay? Metal salts. So, well, look at asphalt. Okay? The word salt is in asphalt. Pay attention. But that is what's irritating the sinuses if you have excess salt and mucus hanging around. So the Jezebel case study, when she put what she put here and here, that contributed to, and so we got to the underlying cause. So for any of you who may be experiencing that, because it's in the air right now and I can smell it, that charcoal smell, because I see the clouds, the different color clouds, the light white cloud come with an ammonia type chemical, and then when it like dark gray, almost black cloud, that's heavy metal. I mean, you can smell the heavy metal. You ever smelled your keys on your keychain? Okay, multiply that by like 10 when you have those clouds. That's what's in the air. So what's causing your sinus issues, though, more specifically, is the charcoal smell, because that is nothing but pure salt that you are, because I found that out in the last room I was in. I get on my walk and then I get back to that room and all of a sudden I'm like, hold on a minute. And then I bet my lip dried out as soon as I took a breath. And I smelled it. And I said, wait a minute, that's that charcoal smell. And my lips got dry. And I said, aha! I said, that's what's causing the reoccurring sinus issue. Plus, the Jezebel case study, she put some bruises in place. And now those are gone. But now we got to, right now the excess salt water and stuff like that got to get work its way out. All right, the bruises are gone, but the stuff, it's got to work its way out now. But we got to the underlying cause. I said, oh my gosh, and it's in them rooms. The matrix is rigged for that stuff to irritate your sinuses, because you're breathing in the salt, and that's what will prolong those sinuses. See, that's an example of how things are working out in our favor, because yours truly was doing a case study, and we weren't going to stop until we got to the underlying cause. What was doing it? What? Oh, but the good news is that by itself ain't strong enough to do anything except irritate the sinuses and slow down circulation to the brain, because you're breathing in that salt, and so it's going to interrupt. Right? Okay, if your body's internal criteria is right, okay? So there you go. And so we got to the underlying cause of that. And I said, all right. I said, we good getting around that resistance now. And we know where it's coming from. Bathroom fans. Ha! Yeah, we figured. I heard the beep. I was like, where's that beep coming from? Oh, because every time it would beep. And then I'm like, oh, I got to whiff to that. Okay, I see what they doing. I see what they do and how the Matrix rigs this stuff up to poison people. Yeah, see? Yeah, the devil got no new tricks. I started to notice that pattern in these hotels. And I said, okay, something's up. And so, now, do all hotels do that? I don't think so. But the last 3 that I was at, yes. And they were independently owned. So, we'll see. Okay, I'm not sure that I need to do any more case studies. We got to the underlying cause of what was going on, radio frequency poisoning and all that. And so that's how God works things in our favor, y'all. Is he's like, yeah, eventually he's like, I'm going to show you. Says, I'm going to reveal the truth to you and how things work in our favor. Because despite all of that, yours truly was still able to keep endurance training and all of that going. That didn't slow us down. That did not set us back. Okay, so I want y'all to drop it in the comment below. Okay, no setbacks. That's it. No setbacks. That's not allowed. Not in God's reality. No setbacks. Drop it in the comments, even on the replay. Say no setbacks. Nope, we don't allow that, because we got to keep it moving. Things work in chosen one's favor all the time. And it's all about that thinking. Change that thinking. You're like, okay, you know what? Hold on a second. Some people would have said in that room, be like, man, I don't know if I want to stay there. No, look, I said opportunity. Because it was a case study. And so I said opportunity. Opportunity. Okay, opportunities to learn and to get to the underlying cause of that radio frequency symptom. And to learn why it was a pattern in each of these. And then where I used to live in the mini electrocution chambers, and the same thing. Same thing. I said, this is so familiar. I said, what was that? Every time I'd be like at this part of the room, and then I go toward the bathroom. It's like things got different. I said, what was up with that? So now we know. And the bathroom fan, somewhere in that wall, was coming in a little bit of that charcoal smell inside the room. And I said, oh, so we've been breathing that in this whole time underneath. All right. Let's try this again, y'all. That was about 15 minutes. Okay. All right, about 15 minutes. Okay. And so there we go. All right. Thank y'all, though, for hanging. Remember, if the phone does that, we coming back. Okay, we coming back. I mean, it's warm outside, but it's not excruciatingly hot. I just really find that to be very intriguing, that I was just sharing a truth about the Matrix, because how things work out in our favor is that I finally got the answer we were looking for. That's God's favor. It's in our favor. We solved the problem. We were like, okay, now we know what it is. And so I can continue to teach you all and help you all overcome that and help you all heal from that. Help you all figure out where that's coming from. If you're in an environment where you're like, where my sinuses just keep on, they keep on like reoccurring all the time. This radio frequency symptom, like, why is it not going away? That's because you're breathing in salt air, that charcoal smell. So you got to figure out where it's coming from. Yeah. And once you're able to do that, remember, when you become aware of something, don't stop breathing, okay? But when you become aware of something, your ANS becomes aware of it, and it will jump back into gear, because your autonomic nervous system, your ANS, is also responsible for a lot of your immune functions. Aha! So once you become aware, remember your thoughts. Oh, because as soon as you become aware of it, you're like, oh, now I'm thinking, oh, now we know where that's coming from. Okay, and that's what's causing that. Your ANF says, oh, okay. And so your tonsils wake up, and they start filtering that air like they're supposed to. You heard me. So there you go. All right, that's that. And everything's always working out in Chosen One's favor, whether you realize it or not. When you think back, doing that self-reflection, you're like, how in the world did I get out of that? Well, his name is Jesus. You wonder, how in the world did you make it through that storm? God. God gets us through every storm because God's favor is on his chosen ones, and everything will always work out in our favor. Not because we're looking for special treatment, because we're not. We're not looking for special treatment. It's for how you thinking. How you thinking. When you turn that negative into a positive, it's going to work in your favor. There ain't no other way, because you're a problem solver. Chosen ones are problem solvers. So you're going to get around that resistance. You're going to solve that problem. You're going to figure it out. How did I get around that resistance? Well, because I cut down on the amount of that smell coming into the room. It's called masking tape. It works wonders. That's for somebody right there. And so everything's always working out in the favor of Chosen One. For that reason, because you're problem solvers. You got your self-thinking ability. You know how to look at what you have first. That's what I was saying. So I was like, anytime I come up against some resistance, or I come up, let's say I'm on business trips right now, y'all. So we're in between rooms at the moment. So, anytime I come up against something like that, like I went to check and see if it was ready a little bit early. It's not. I said, okay. So I went ahead and I said, all right, so let's work around here. Let's run to the little store there, and we got a cooler with some stuff in it, so it needed some ice. And I said, well, let's get some ice. And I said, I can go ahead and make a protein shake, but it's all packed up. And I said, hold on a minute. They got them 40 gram of protein muscle milkshakes. Okay, I can get one of them. All right, so I got a bag of ice, and I got one of those. And I went ahead and I took care of that. And I said, you know what, though? I can go early. I can go early with the Motivational Monday message. It don't have to be right at 4 o'clock. I always say around 4 p.m. So it's about 3:15-ish or so when we got up here. Plus, I had a couple of short videos I needed to make. And I said, let's go ahead and get that done. Let's go ahead and get that done while we waiting on them to get that room ready. Because I was like, yeah. And so we were getting around that resistance, things working out in our favor. Always. Because we know how to do that. We don't let ourselves get all bent out of shape about it. Because technically, the check-in time is what it is. And so, okay. So they don't have to let it. I need y'all to know something. A narcissist, oh gosh, a narcissist would be expecting special treatment. A narcissist would expect to be able to check in early. Chosen ones, we know better. If the check-in time says a certain time and you get there and they tell you that they don't have anything yet, okay, then come back at check-in time. That's what that means. There's some hotels, and I get it, management, that they don't allow early check-in. So you have to keep that in mind too. But a narcissist who is used to getting that kind of treatment would not think outside the box and be like, well, where do I go now? What am I going to do? That's a narcissist for you. They start complaining and trying to figure out what are they going to do, da-da-da-da-da. Whereas yours surely is like, you know what? Because I know where I'm at. I'm close by one of our parks. I said, I'm close by one of those. And I said, there's a gas station. I get me some ice and a protein shake. I got to get some more protein in this body. We got to feed these muscles we working. And I said, okay, see, that's how we get around that. And it works in our favor. Here we are up here giving y'all the Motivational Monday message. It's working out in our favor. So we ain't got to sit here and be twiddling thumbs. There ain't no reason to complain. It is what it is. The rules are the rules. But it's working out in our favor. And so it's like, okay, because I was checked, and I was like, okay, when she said she didn't have nothing yet, I said, all right, then I said, come back and forth. Yeah, she said, okay. I said, all right. So, okay, no problem. No problem. Don't give them no head. Don't give them, listen, a narcissist will try to give them lip. A narcissist will try to treat them like crap because they won't let them check in early. Well, it might be a rule. They might not be allowed to. There was a hotel that I was going to on and off here and there every once in a while for a quick getaway from the mini electrocution chamber, and they used to let you check in early. They charged like a $15 early check-in fee. I was like, whatever, okay. And well, they did that, and they went under new management, right? So new management took over, and they took that away. They don't allow anybody to check in early anymore. Now, and they let me know that because they recognized me. They knew I'd been there before. And that had been a thing. And I said, oh, okay. I said, no problem. Rules change. Chosen ones, we don't have a problem with that. We don't have a problem with things changing like that. Narcissists do. That's another reason why things work out in the favor of chosen one, because we are not resistant to change. Ooh! We are not resistant to change. Yeah, because think of all of the thinking we have to change. Think of the old belief systems we got to get rid of. Hey. I know some of y'all gonna have to catch this on the replay, and it does. The phone did heat up about 15 minutes in, but stay tuned just a minute or so, and we're back. You know how we roll. All right, and so thank you, okay? And so we're doing a second half. We're doing a quick message today because we are in between rooms. Like I said, I went to see if it was ready. It's not ready yet. And so we're getting around that resistance thing work out in our favor because I said, all right, I can get up here and I can give this message. Even though the phone might heat up, we were hoping it didn't, but it did. Because it is a little bit warm outside, but it's not hot. And so now I've got the windows open and there's a nice breeze. And so it's like, all right, so we're going to get up here and give this message. Because it's important for y'all to understand how things work out in our favor. And even the smallest thing, like that. And, and I have to tell you, because I learned how to record podcast episodes on a trip, to take y'all with me on some podcast episodes. For those who don't know, we got CHA's Truth Seeker podcast, yes, on Spotify, iHeart, Apple Podcast. And then you can see in the video description below, okay? In this video description below, you will see the RSS.com feed for CHA's Truth Seeker podcast to see where all the podcast platforms are that podcast is on. You can also locate that on the CHA's Truth Seeker podcast page at cdhrwdrmd.org. And so everything is always working out in chosen one's favor. That's why we don't argue. Ain't no reason to argue. Because we know, okay, you know what? There's a reason. Things work out in our favor. Because we're like, meaning they work out as they're supposed to at God's appointed time. You see? Everything. And it's all in how you think. You change that negative into a positive. Get around the resistance. That's right. Okay? Okay, so you stayed in one and they for an extended time. Okay, and the area will think your hotel inspector on a sneaky visit should put them on their best behavior. Ha ha, that's funny. Because I just in the first half that you'll catch on replay, I talk about how the last 3 hotels were case studies. We closed that now. We don't have to do any more hotel case studies. No, but they were. And just like I don't tell a narcissist when they get turned into a case study, I wasn't going to tell hotel staff or management that their hotel became a case study. They were independently owned hotels. Because I started to see patterns that were similar to the mini electrocution chamber. I give the name on the Patreon channel. Okay? Patterns that were very similar. So it's like I kept getting a combination of that place plus that other extended stay. There was like a crossover. There was a pattern in crossovers between those 3 independent hotels. And so that's right, they were case studies. So in a way, yeah, I was. And let me tell you something. I honestly, and I've told 2 of them that they need to have pest control come on in. I told 2 of them, I said, you might want to have that checked out. You'll find some glue traps that I put out. You might want to have that checked out. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I know that there are like building codes, there are regulations, and there are, and I'm sitting there going, how are they even getting away with that? You know what I'm saying? Independently owned, okay? I see. But, all I'd have to do is make 1 phone call, and they would all get a hefty fine. So, but I'm not going to do that. I wanted to know, I know the spiritual. That's what I was after, is the spiritual. Because the physical stuff, that's totally fixable. And so we fixed it. The consistency in lighting we fixed. And we let them know. We did our duty and let them know they might want to have, for their business, for their reputation, they might want to have pest control come in. Okay? Because, word of mouth. I mean, if I don't say, seriously, I told management, you might want to have. And that's all I got to do. Just let them know. I know. Now they know. It's on them, not me. But another person that stays there, who knows what they might do? Word of mouth. You know what they say, right? Yeah. So if they want to stay in business, I encourage that they heed my advice. Seriously. But I was really more after the radio frequency aspect, combating radio frequency for healthier living. I was more after what was prolonging the sinus issues. And so I gave that to y'all. You're going to catch the first 15 minutes on the replay. Okay? You're going to catch that on the replay, and you'll learn. That's how things work out in our favor. That case study, we finally got to the nitty gritty of the nitty. That underlying cause, baby. That's what we were looking for. That's what we were after. We were like, all right, because I was like, I know there's an answer here. What is going on with this radio frequency symptom that just seemed to not want to go away? Okay? Okay, well, are they prepping it? Yeah, it wasn't ready when I went a little early. Well, maybe a little too early. That's why I said we got to get up here and give this message early today. And so that's what's going to happen during business trip season, y'all. Let me give y'all a heads up, okay? Because, typically, Motivational Monday, we come up here live around 4 p.m. Eastern time. But during business trip season, because most hotels check-in time, some are at 3, but most are at 4 p.m. I'm realizing that now. So, Motivational Monday message, if they don't have anything ready early, if they're not allowed to let you check in early, we may be up early. So, just keep that in mind during business trip season at the time of this recording. Okay, so you might see some Motivational Monday messages around 2:30 or 3. It depends on because I'll go check and see if I can get in early. If not, then I we'll do what we got to do, and we'll get up here. Or if it's a break day, I'm going to let y'all know that in the YouTube community tab, okay? Absolutely. I got the windows down, y'all. Know how it rolls in here when we in the car. And so, yeah. So, well, listen, it ain't got nothing to do with that. It ain't, no. And as far as that, no. I need to tell you, okay, those of you who are on the Patreon channel, there's a big lie about animated salt molecules and bug larvae. That's not what it is. No, 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 no. They're animated salt molecules. Their shells is nothing but pure salt. Okay, they evolved from dust and energy frequency vibration. They're cooked with moisture and radio frequency, because radio frequency heats up the salt, right? How it heats up the salt on the inside of our body. Okay, well, it does that to these things. They are actually from chemicals and dust. Okay, the salts that are in dust. That's why they feed on dust. They ain't after your food. No, 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 no. In fact, they run away from your food. If you cook healthy, they do. They run away from your food. They don't want nothing to do with it. They don't have eyes. They don't have ears. They don't have teeth. They don't smell. They have antennas. They have antennas. Those little things that you see, the whiskers, those are antennas. Their feet are antennas. So that, yeah, their wings are like antennas. They are animated salt molecules, and they are derived from dust. Okay, and then other things like paint. I have a video on the Patreon channel where one of those was in evolution, if you will. It was in the making in the mini electrocution chamber. I call it the whole thing. From the dust bunny all the way to before it would become an actual, yeah, it starts to grow those antennas. And so what it's doing is it dropping. What happens is that when it gets out from the dark, warm, moist place that it's at, it gets exposed to a little more oxygen. And so their shells start to dry up a little bit. When their shells start to dry up a little bit, it starts to, those little, okay, you think of it as bug poo, but it's not, okay? It's not. It's little pieces of their shell breaking off. And it's also the frequency. That's how they get back to where they came from, because they're actually, right, and you'll see them run back and forth, because they can't see, they don't know what they're doing. They're just trying to find the frequency, so they basically are shedding and then going and basically picking up their own pieces of themselves along the way to get back to where it was, and then they also feed on each other. Okay, it's the shell. There's no such thing as bug poo. But you could call it that if you want to. But they're shell, okay? Anyway, more about that on the Patreon channel. But that's another discovery that we had about animated salt molecules. Yeah, it's really fascinating, though. But we have to unlearn the lies that the Matrix told us about them things. They are derived from dust. There's not that many of them on this planet. They are manufactured. They are man-made. So do the independent hotels have inspections? I don't know. I would think so. And, well, the RF symptom that was lingering was the sinus, a little bit of sinus pressure and stuff. But we got to the underlying cause. And you'll learn about that. It's the charcoal smell. So more about that in the beginning on the replay. And well, no, but see, Chosen One, I'm telling you, everything works out in our favor. Even when the devil starts to get us to move on out with idiot doing things like burning tires in the vicinity to poison the air. Well, okay, for you it's sneezing. Well, no, sneezing is good. Because that means your body biological function is returning to normal. Meaning that whatever it is that's in the air, your tonsils are filtering out and your body is rejecting the toxin. That's what sneezing is. So y'all, don't be freaked out by sneezing. Sneezing is a good thing. That's what you're supposed to do. That's your body your body going, oh no, we ain't putting that in there. That's your body your body is rejecting whatever that is. It said, oh no, we ain't gonna breathe. We don't want that in the lungs. Okay? So yeah, yours truly a few times too, especially in the last room. Pretty powerful too. And so I said, okay, good. We are rejecting. So don't fret about it. If you sneeze, let your body sneeze. Because that's your body rejecting the toxin that's in the air. Okay? And that means that your tonsils are working just fine. Okay? And if you have tonsils. Now, if you don't and you're still sneezing, that just means your body's rejecting what it doesn't want. Okay? And so, all right. Okay. Like I said, we're about to wrap it up, and there went the phone again. And that time was only about 10 minutes. Okay, I'm looking at the clock to see here, y'all. Yeah. And it is what it is. I don't know. Digital attacks, maybe, but chosen one, just remember, everything always works out in your favor. Okay, if I was indoors and it was hot in the room, would the phone do that? You know what? I don't think so. Because I could, I don't think so. I have a feeling that it has more to do with the fact that we're up here speaking truth. We're speaking the truth here about radio frequency poisoning symptoms, and that your body is just trying to detox. And I think that there's a digital demon that is spying on it, and I don't know, but I believe it's a digital something or other. It's a digital demon. It has to be. It has to be. Because I know there ain't nothing wrong with this phone, but I know also that our carrier has been pushing, trying to get me to upgrade when I don't need to upgrade. So, just whatever. And remember, the devil's always trying to sabotage. So, thank y'all for hanging tight to catch this on the replay. Just hang tight. We come right back. I'm not going to leave y'all hanging. We're about to wrap it up anyway. All right? Before it heated up that time. 10 minutes after we came back from the first heating up. And so now, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. And just remember that, okay? It seems to be in the car thing for the phone. It does. It seems to be. I don't know why. It nice breeze. It is not that hot outside at all. And the sun's not even out. The dashboard, a little warm, but it's not hot. So, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. And yours, surely, I know my internal body temperature is way down. So, what? We've been detoxing. We've been detoxing. So, I don't know. Well, it is what it is. But just keep on keeping on. Remember, things always work out in your favor. So if you find yourself in a situation that doesn't seem too favorable, change that thinking and go, wait, hold on a second. What's the opportunity? Yeah, what's the opportunity? Because that's how you learn to take what the devil dishes out and flip it for the glory of God. You take what the devil dishes out and flip it for the glory of God. What's the opportunity? What's the lesson? How do we get around this resistance? And then you come up against a situation like, all right, so how are we going to work this? And then let's say you've got something, you're somewhere and you need to, let's say you need to fix something. You always take a look at what you have first before you go run into the store. And you'll realize more often than not, you already got what you need to solve that problem on hand, because God is the God of preparation. So he's going to have us pick things up along the way. Like I have this little tote with, yours truly has a screwdriver and tape and a measuring tape. And yeah, and I can tell you, even on these business trips, I found that I had to use the measuring tape a couple times. Go figure, right? It's like, oh. I said, look at what you have. Things work out in your favor because you always have things on hand. God has us get things like that in preparation for getting in position. So remember, God is the author of the 5 P's. Okay, and so yes, thank you for rebuking the digital demon. Okay, be gone in the name of Jesus. Amen. Okay, so I want y'all just to know, catch it on the replay, and then I will see you in the comments. Yes, I want y'all to put it in the comments. Okay, put it in the comments. All right, you're going to hear it. I got a call to action in the first half. I sure do. Okay, so, yeah, no setbacks. Okay, you're going to get it. You're going to get it, all right? Because we're not going to allow it. Everything's going to keep on working out in the favor of chosen one. No more setbacks. That's it. No more setbacks. Because we don't see them as setbacks. Like, what's the opportunity? What's the lesson? We stay positive. And we know, because God is out there making a way. He's fighting battles we don't even know about. So you keep it moving, all right? Keep it moving, keep it moving, keep it moving. Sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching, listening, and for your continued support. Till next time, let's show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father. And you keep being you. In Jesus' name, amen.